everyone, here's our last video before the summer, and I have to say that I'm loving the content we've covered so far. This month's topic is survey readiness, and while that might elicit a deep groan and some moans from many of you, we're not going to cover specific regulations. Instead, we're aiming to talk about the more human aspect of the survey readiness and our relationship with Texas surveyors. I think it's worth watching because Jessica will be talking to Focus Care's founder, Mark Mckenzie, for whom the survey experience is nothing new. Our survey process is more than just a graded exam that you cram the night before and you're hoping and praying to make an A on that test. It's way more than a check sheet. It's a lot, but our aim here at Focus Care is to change the current culture that promotes friction, adversarial positions, and defensiveness. We think those things are really negative, and Mark is going to tell you why it ends here with us at Focus Care and how we think a new culture begins. Jessica?
Welcome to the Real Voices in Long-Term Care of Texas. I'm your host, Jessica Pronk, and today we're going to be talking survey readiness. And our guest expert is founder Mark Mckenzie. Hi Mark, how are you doing today?
Good afternoon, how about yourself?
I'm great. Survey readiness, it's a loaded topic. Mark and I both know that all of you have lived through many of the processes to become survey ready and the different requirements over the years. It's part of our DNA. Focus Care is making it a priority to genetically modify that DNA, if you will, and change the culture. Mark, why do you think that that is necessary?
Well, I think it's necessary, and it goes back to 1987 when the Omnibus Act of 1987 was developed, which systemically changed the nursing home industry overall, but it also changed the relationship between the surveyors and the providers. Once that was implemented in October 1st, 1990, you saw working away from a collaborative standpoint, you saw both sides become extraordinarily defensive. Both sides thought the other had ill intentions. The system set it up to have that preference or that perspective. And for the next 30 plus years, that's how we have all operated. It just hasn't worked. It hasn't raised the level of care we expect to see at the communities. It hasn't raised the level of regulatory outcomes that the survey team would expect to see. And so we have to be able as an organization to step back and go, something is amiss. How can we be part of that solution?
Where do you begin with strategy that involves shaping relationships with surveyors, and what are those first steps?
I think it goes back to what we talk about at Focus Care all the time, clear communication. We have to be very consistent in our communication with the agency. We need to become extraordinarily proactive in many of the things that we're doing, but first and foremost, having consistent conversations, not only with the agency in our local regions with our providers, but also down in Austin with our senior leaders.
Absolutely. Can you give me 3 goals or results that you would like to see in 2026 for Focus Care?
First of all, I would like to see a consistency in those meetings that I just talked about. I believe that if our team members, again, both at the facility level as well at the senior leadership level with our CEO Lori and Becky and Sean participating at the Austin level, really spending time educating our surveyors about what we're doing at Focus Care, really continue to educate them on who we are, but most importantly, make sure there's a clear line of communication if we're rolling out something significant, or if we're having if we believe we're having challenges, or an avenue for them to be able to at least have a contact to call if they have concerns at the facility level, but they're not comfortable leaving them there. That's the first thing I would like to see. The second thing is I would like to see us become be obsessive with our policy and procedures, specifically as it pertains to the regulatory process. If we are that disciplined, our outcomes will take care of themselves. We will have mistakes, but our obsessiveness over implementing our policy and our process will cure a lot of the ills that we have in the survey process. It's up to us to fix our problems. And as we've learned over the past analysis, we leave a thread for a surveyor to find. And once they get on that thread, sometimes it works out well for us, then they see that we did everything, and sometimes it's an obvious path to where we may have stumbled. And the third thing I would like to see is I'd love to see our teams celebrate the regulatory success. We celebrate all kinds of successes throughout the year through our Rockstar programs and various things, but we need to take a step back and be very focused and committed on celebrating that type of success as well. We take it that it's for granted that that's what we're here for, and sometimes we forget to celebrate it. So if we're really having that epic year, we need to make sure that our celebrations include focus on the regulatory outcome.
Ambitious, but it's very focused care to take on such a culture-changing endeavor. Thank you so much for joining us, and until next time.
Thank you, Jessica and Mark. I hope you all appreciate the wisdom and necessity of this focused care endeavor. Nothing big worth pursuing is easy, but we're not about easy. We're all about what's right here at Focused Care. We think this has been a great series, and as always, please feel free to ask any questions or give us your feedback or opinions in the comments section, because that's what counts with us. Thank you.